Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the 2026 governor's gubernatorial race in the midterms and filling out the map based on the latest polling data specifically. So this has nothing to do with my actual prediction, but what the latest poll suggests, not the entire polling averages as an average, but the actual most recent poll alone. But before we get started with the map, make sure you guys are subscribed, click the bell so you don't miss on my content. Press the like button, share this video. Don't forget we have memberships. If you're interested, you can find links to that in the description section. So let's begin, starting off with the West Coast. California has a very competitive primary, and as of right now, according to the latest pollster, with a very large, one of the more larger, I think the largest actually sample size I've ever seen, with 3,404 voters, likely voters from April 14th to the 20th. Independent Voter Project, that's the poll source. It has Xavier Becerra winning with 23%, and second place candidate is a Republican. Keep in mind, top two advance. So if this is the case, then the next California governor will most likely be a Democrat. So Steve Hilton comes in at second place, just 3 points behind Xavier Becerra at polling at 20%, and then Chad Bianco polling at third place. So Tom Steyer in this poll is actually the least favored candidate. Actually, no, he's in fourth place, excuse me. So Tom Steyer is not doing that good in this poll. You can actually see more ticket splitting ever since Eric Swalwell dropped out of the race. A lot of that support from Swalwell actually went over to someone like Xavier Becerra instead of someone like Tom Steyer, which we originally thought would happen. We saw Tom Steyer's polling numbers go up, but you can see from this polling data that Steve Hilton is consistently polling to be the Republican nominee. And he's, becoming very close to actually winning in these polls. In fact, he is winning in a lot of these pollsters. If you scroll down, he is actually winning. And what I like about this website is it shows you what happened with these polls ever since these things have happened. Swalwell withdraws from the race. You can see what happens there. Trump endorses Stephen Hilton. You can see right there what happened. So it has the timeline of these certain events, which I really do like. But as of right now, California is going to be lean Democrat because Becerra is only winning by a margin of 3 percentage points. Excuse me, I don't know why I filled Nevada there. I meant California. And now, speaking of Nevada, let's move on to the state of Nevada, in which the very popular incumbent Republican, I believe he's popular, I think his approval rating is somewhere in the 60s. The last time I checked, I'm not sure what it's at right now, but he's going to go up against the Democratic challenger, Aaron Ford. Joe Lombardo's polling at 42% to Aaron Ford's 39%. Now, if this is the case, now I was looking at the poll aggregation from race to the White House. Now, if you take a look at the actual latest poll back from conducted March 10th to the 13th, so last month, not really that much recent, but it's still the latest poll we can possibly have access to. Margin of error 3.5, so it tends to be not that accurate a lot of the times. Lombardo's up by a percentage point, 39 to 38%. That's enough to characterize it as just a tilt margin, so not lean. Red for Joe Lombardo. This is actually closer than what I expect to happen. I think he should probably win by a little more than just a percentage point. And then you have the state of Arizona. Katie Hobbs, according to the latest polls, up by a couple percentage points. From February 23rd to 26th, she's up by 5%, 42 to 37. So more than just a couple. Margin of error of this poll is 3% with a little over 1,000 registered voters. That's the sample size of this poll. So this poll has an error of 3. So when I meant a couple, I would say if you were to apply that polling error to this poll, 5 minus 3, she ends up winning by 2% instead of the 5. If we were to factor in the polling error, that's why I originally said a couple percentage points, because that's where my mind was going. I was applying the margin of error. So that's a lean to likely margin. I'll characterize it lean for now for Katie Hobbs in the state of Arizona. And then as for the next state, which is going to be Georgia, Georgia polling is a really odd. The margin of error from the latest poll is 6.5 and a very, very small sample size. I think this poll is very terrible. It's awful. Most of you guys can agree with me. I mean, that's just a fact. That margin of error of almost 700, and not only that, the sample size is very small, 407 likely voters conducted of this month, so it was pretty recent, has Keisha Bottoms defeating the likely Republican nominee, Rick Jackson, by a margin of 6 percentage points. Not only do I disagree with the margin, but I also disagree with her winning. I don't think she's going to win at the end of the day. Georgia, meanwhile, they do have 2 Democratic senators. They tend to favor Republican governors. So this is based on the polling alone, so not my prediction. So therefore, I have to characterize Georgia's governor's race as likely, not even lean or tilt, likely blue for Keisha Bottoms. That poll's obviously an outlier, but we don't have much data in this state. So unfortunately for this video, I would characterize it likely Georgia, but that's still probably not going to be the realistic outcome at the end of the day. And as for Ohio, the latest poll with a very big margin of error, 4.5 points, with a great sample size, 1,000 registered voters from April 7th to the 14th with University and YouGov, has Vivek Ramaswamy up by 1 point, 48 to 47% against his Democratic opponent, Amy Acton. I think Amy Acton's running a very fine campaign. Vivek Ramaswamy has never held public office before, so we're not sure how that will hold up. As of right now, we're going to characterize Ohio tilt R for Vivek Ramaswamy becoming their next governor. And then as for Wisconsin and Michigan, we have 2 more states before we finish off this video. Wisconsin, most likely Democratic candidate Mandela Barnes going up against the most likely Republican candidate Tom Tiffany, according to Tip Insights conducted from last month. That's the most recent one we have, March 13th to the 19th. You have Mandela Barnes defeating Tom Tiffany by just 2 points in both of these polls, so it is consistent. You can see the trend of just 2 points, indicating it's going to be a very tight race, and I'll characterize it lean blue for Mandela Barnes in Wisconsin, replacing Tony Evers, who is now retiring. As for the last and final state, Michigan is a 3-way race between the independent candidate Mike Duggan, Jocelyn Benson, the Democratic nominee, and John James, the Republican nominee. I think John James is the best nominee Republicans could possibly put up there. And Mike Duggan is hurting Jocelyn Benson, the Democratic candidate, pulling voters away from her, helping John James win, which is what you saw with the polling aggregation from RCP. As you can see right here, he's up at 36%, and she's only at 32%. So John James is winning in that, if you take a look at that aspect. But if you take a look at the latest poll alone, then you would see Jocelyn Benson, the Democrat, winning. So it keeps going back and forth. It's very close. But Benson is winning by 4 percentage points. According to Impact Research, March 23rd to the 29th, 800 likely voters is the sample size. Margin of error is huge, 3.5%. So I would characterize Michigan's governor's race lean Democrat for Jocelyn Benson, according to the latest poll. I would have to disagree. I think as of right now, John James does pull out the narrow victory, and if Benson does somehow win, I would say probably by just 1 percentage point, so not the 4 points that the latest poll is showing her winning by, meaning 24 to 26. This is the map according to the latest poll, not my actual prediction. So let me know your overall thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I think out of all these states, Georgia has to be the least accurate one. I think we can all agree with that. One last final reminder is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss on my content, press the like button, share this video. Don't forget we have memberships. If you're interested, you can find links to that in the description section. Thank you everyone for watching.